morning everybody, good morning, it's JPR and welcome back to another video. So if you watched the last video, which you should have by the way, right? Right? Then, well, you already knew this was coming. We gotta finish up with the worst gyms in every region. Now, I had a few people ask in the comments last time, am I going to be super harsh on the first gyms from most regions for having very basic puzzles and generally easy fights? And the answer is no. I'm gonna try to avoid the low-hanging fruit and give the first gyms a pass. The keyword is try, because if they still did something super bad, then I'm gonna talk about it. But for the most part, I'm gonna try and keep these picks as interesting as I can. Same criteria as last time: if the puzzle sucks, the gym leader and the trainers are super incompetent, there's a lack of Pokemon variety, or the gym just doesn't look cool, then those are all detracting factors. Let's get into it. Starting us off is the most trash gym in all of Kanto. Literally. Consider this, the Vermilion Gym has appeared in 5 different generations so far, and the puzzle has never changed even once. Well, I should specify that the overall puzzle hasn't changed. The way the switches are placed varies from generation to generation. In Generation 1, I'm not reading all of that. In Generations 3 and 4, the second switch is randomly placed in a trash can adjacent to where the first switch was found. In Generation 7, the cans are set, so if you just know, then you know. It's not even a puzzle at that point. And in Gen 2, the electric gates aren't even turned on. There isn't even a puzzle! Now, I know, you may have just flashed back to the previous video where I praised the Sutopolis gym for getting the puzzle right and sticking to it for the long term. The key is to get the puzzle right, which the Vermilion Gym certainly does not. This gym has always just felt long and frustrating more than anything. Why am I even rummaging through trash in the first place? What is the connection to electricity here? It's also generally just the most boring looking of the Kanto gyms, even in Let's Go where they all got a considerable facelift. In terms of the gym battle difficulty and the Pokemon variety, I can't really complain. Surge's Raichu is plenty strong, especially in Yellow. I actually like that it's his sole Pokemon in that game. And the only Gen 1 electric types that they don't use here are Jolteon and Electabuzz, which are admittedly a bit too strong for this early in the game, but why on God's green earth did they build an electric gym within 30 feet of Diglett's cave? If you come marching in here with any of those, then Raichu is realistically the only Pokemon you'll have a real fight against. For being a War Lieutenant, he sure didn't consider any battle tactics with that decision. Okay, I know I said I'd avoid the low-hanging fruit, but hear me out, I have some good reasoning behind this one. The Olivine Gym. Now yes, as the player character, the protagonist if you will, it makes complete sense for Jasmine's gym to not feature a puzzle of any kind. Because essentially, going up the lighthouse, fighting the trainers there, crossing the sea, and getting the secret potion to bring back to Ampharos is the real gym puzzle, so there's no reason to have one in the actual gym. But think about this from a logical standpoint. For all the non-protagonist NPCs in the game, they don't have to go out and complete that long quest. For them, it's just an empty gym. No effort required to just walk up and challenge Jasmine. I know I'm probably stretching to justify this one, but you know, it's either this one or the Violet Gym, so I'm kinda in a box here. The rest of the Johto gyms are actually pretty cool. But I suppose beyond just the puzzle, the real reasoning is that this is just an incredibly disappointing introduction to the brand new Steel type. Remember, Dark wouldn't have its own gym for a very long time, so this was a great opportunity for a new type to make a great first impression. And in this gym, it really doesn't. There are no gym trainers that the protagonist has to fight anyhow, so Jasmine's team consists of 2 Magnemite and a Steelix, and that's all you get. For a brand new type filled with all kinds of unseen potential, that is an incredibly disappointing lineup. Now, I can justify Jasmine not using Scizor. I think that being on the same team as Steelix would have been a bit much, but what about Forretress or Skarmory? Anything is better than just 2 Magnemite. Those aren't even new Pokemon. To make it worse, they have the exact same moveset. They're basically carbon copies of each other. And in Gen 2, Jasmine Steelix knows Sunny Day for some reason. It's practically saying, here Typhlosion, flamethrower me even harder. They do correct this by replacing it with Sandstorm in the remakes, but that's the only revision made to her entire team. Considering that Heart Gold and Soul Silver buffed many of the Johto gym leaders, this makes Jasmine one of the easiest major fights in the game. In the Hoenn region, and I really hate to keep harping on Magnemite trainers like this, but the Mauville gym is definitely the weakest. The puzzle is just fine, it's better than Surge's at least, and is at least a little more pleasing to look at. The biggest problem in this gym lies on the trainers more than anything else. Unfortunately, Hoenn barely has any new electric-type Pokemon, so Electrike is the only new Pokemon you'll be seeing here, but if we're being completely honest, you've probably seen plenty of him by this point in the game. Heck, a lot of the gym trainers don't even bother using electric-type Pokemon in this gym. Some guys are carrying Zigzagoons and Metatite and Volbeat. There's not even a Plusle or Minun to be found in this gym. Then we get to the man himself, Watson. Only in Emerald does he even use a Gen 3 Pokemon. They had to change his ace from Magneton to Manectric in that game. In Ruby and Sapphire, he just uses Magnemite, Voltorb, and Magneton. Who signed off on that? And in Oras, they revert his team to its original state, taking away Manectric and then nerfing his remaining Pokemon by leveling them down and only giving them 3 moves. This just feels wrong, like I'm beating an old man with dementia who doesn't even remember any Pokemon outside of Gen 1. It's just embarrassing. It's the least Gen 3 gym in all of Hoenn. Just for that, it deserves the title of the worst. Halloween is approaching, boys and girls, and you know what the scariest thing in the whole wide world is. Doing math. If this is a joke, I guess it's funny, but honestly, the Heart Home gym is just weird more than spooky. First of all, in Diamond and Pearl, the gym is completely skipped over the first time you visit due to Fantina's busy life as a coordinator. Then you're just randomly supposed to come back here and fight her as the 5th gym leader. It's like they were trying to repeat the whole Norman thing from Gen 3, but just didn't clarify it at all, and the battle feels way less important. And as I alluded to before, the puzzle is just goofy. It's literally solving basic math problems. If they were gonna go all the way with a spooky math joke, then there should have at least been one of those absurd word problems, like if I'm traveling down the road at 60 miles per hour and I'm eating a box of pizza and I can only eat 1 slice every 20 minutes and my destination is 3 hours away, then how many times can you click subscribe? You know, something crazy like that. Maybe you could help me solve it. Also, Ghost-type variety still isn't the greatest in this generation. They basically only have the Gengar, Drifblim, and Mismagius lines to work with, which does give Fantina a fantastic team, actually, but makes the whole gym more repetitive feeling than most other Sinnoh gyms, even in Platinum. I will say the puzzle drastically improves in Platinum, though, with the whole flashlight in the dark thing. That was pretty cool, so I'm only talking about the Diamond and Pearl gym here. In Platinum, if I had to choose a worse gym, I'd just go with Rourke's because it's the only gym they don't change at all. And for goodness sake, can we please have a type other than Rock be the first gym type? This was the 3rd time they did it in 4 generations. Enough is enough. Why does it have to be Rock? Plus, out of all the first gyms, this one had the most potential for an actually cool puzzle that could have somehow tied the underground mining tutorial into this. Like, if you succeed, you dig up a cool fossil, but if you fail and the wall collapses, then you have to fight a trainer. With that alone, Orberg would have been cemented as the coolest first gym ever, but that's obviously not what happened. It's just another run-of-the-mill rock gym. So yeah, the worst is Fantina in Diamond and Pearl, and probably the remakes if I had to guess, but Rourke in Platinum. That's how I'm divvying up Sinnoh. In Unova, I think the least interesting gym is easily the Nacrene gym run by Lenora. It does a good job at showing her profession as a librarian and an archaeologist, and the gym battle can actually be rather difficult between the 2 evolved normal types with some very powerful moves to watch out for. It just definitely has the least visual flair of any of the Unova gyms, and the puzzle is reading books. Come on guys, I haven't read anything since Harry Potter ended. But Nacrene City is pretty early on in the game, and it is a normal gym after all, so I'll cut it a bit of slack. After all, I think Lenora is more than a competent gym leader, especially for the early game, so I'm actually gonna give my vote to the Nimbasa gym. This gym certainly is much cooler looking than the previous one, but it's mostly style over substance. The roller coaster puzzle really isn't much of a puzzle at all, it's just holding forward when the cart comes by and you jump in after you've changed the track. Not much thinking required. Plus, in the first pair of Unova games, only Amalga and the Blitzel family are featured here, no Stunfisk, Joltik, or even Tynamo, who all would have been suitable opponents for this stage in the game. And the actual gym battle against Elisa feels more annoying than challenging, having to constantly constantly deal with their Pokemon spamming Volt Switch. I much prefer the Black 2 and White 2 version of this gym to the original, despite its lack of a puzzle. It more than makes up for it with its electric atmosphere, banging music, and much greater Pokemon variety. Plus does an excellent job of showing off Elise's job as a model. But even in those games, it's arguably one of the less impressive gyms, but that speaks more about Black 2 and White 2's insanely high bar of quality than anything else. In the Kalos region, I have it narrowed down to 2 contenders for the worst. The runner-up is the Shalor City Gym, probably a controversial pick, but allow me to explain why. Personally, I just think it has the most glaring weaknesses of any gym in the series. For starters, no Pokemon in this gym carry Dark-type moves, making it insanely easy to wipe the floor with any Psychic-type you bring here. And to make matters worse, if you bring a Ghost-type, then only Karina's Machoke's Rock Tomb will be able to touch you, and nothing else. Golett, who is available just before the Shalor gym, is essentially an instant win option for this gym. Karina and her gym trainers are quite possibly the most unprepared of any gym in the series. And like the Vermilion gym from before, the Shalor gym's fatal flaw is building it right next to the hottest hub for Psychic-type Pokemon in the Kalos region, that being Reflection Cave. But since X and Y in general is pretty easy, I'll be a little more merciful to Karina, but only because her puzzle with the roller skates is really cool. I'm glad those didn't go unused in the Kalos gym. Instead, the region's worst gym goes to the last one, ironically enough, the Snowbell gym. Right off the bat, the puzzle is very underwhelming. This is probably the only Kalos gym that doesn't visually impress me in any way. This feels like a puzzle that could have just as easily worked on the DS as the 3DS. You're basically solving a giant Rubik's Cube, except much easier and much slower. Speaking of easier, Wulfric might just be the most disappointingly easy final gym leader of all time. All 3 of his Pokemon are complete garbage, and they don't even have good move pools to back it up, unlike Candace from the last video. In his quote before the battle, Wulfric even admits that if you bring the right moves, he'll probably be a total pushover. Wow, it's like the writers for this game were self-aware. I'd laugh if this wasn't so depressing. I'd say there are at least 2 or 3 trainers in this gym who are more challenging to fight than Wulfric himself. And finally, in the Galar region, I've gotta go with the Stow-on-Side gym. Just like the Surchester gym I discussed in the last video, this gym is also split depending on the version you play. Some people remarked on how the Surchester gym was disappointing due to Game Freak not changing the puzzle between the versions, but honestly that didn't bug me too much as I thought the puzzle fit both gyms just fine. As for the Stow-on-Side gym, the puzzle is the complete opposite. It feels like it doesn't fit either type well. Here, I think separate puzzles would have served both versions of this gym much better than whatever this spinning teacup thing was trying to convey. Now, which gym leader is worse, Bee or Alistair? Truthfully, I actually think they're both not bad as far as the Galar gym leaders go. Bee is kind of the opposite of Karina. She covers her weakness to Psychic and vulnerability to Ghost pretty well, with most of her team carrying Dark moves, but none of them have any Rock moves to deal with Flying types. Her team is fully evolved though, which is pretty nuts for only the 4th gym in the game. Alistair's team on the other hand doesn't seem nearly as threatening, although I would say that G-Max Gengar is a huge threat compared to Machamp, given its high speed and the fact that Max Ooze can raise Gengar's special attack, turning it into a dangerous sweeper very quickly. Because of Gengar alone, I hesitate to say that Bee is the much better gym leader, but I think overall she beats him by a nose. However, the easiest gym in the Galar region is certainly the Balanleia gym run by Opal. None of these Pokemon have good movesets, but I can't call it the worst just because I thoroughly enjoyed some of the funny lines and questions throughout the challenge. I think a comic relief gym is actually a nice change of pace. And with that, we have successfully covered the best and worst gyms. Be sure to check out last week's video if you didn't already, and as always, if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more videos like this one. I'll see you guys next time.